Sofia sat on the edge of her bed, staring at the small, dusty box her mother had tucked away in the corner of her room. The sun was shining through the curtains, casting a soft golden light on the box that seemed strangely out of place in an otherwise tidy room. A week had passed since her mother, Claudia, had died unexpectedly, leaving Sofia and her father, Marco, in a fog of grief and confusion. As the reality of her mother's absence set in, Sofia felt a growing curiosity about the box, which had become a symbol of the secrets her mother had kept. She hesitated for a moment, her heart pounding in her chest as she contemplated what might be inside. With a deep breath, she opened the box, feeling the weight of the moment. Inside, she found a collection of letters, photographs, and a small, intricately carved wooden pendant. As she scanned the contents, a letter caught her eye. It was addressed to her, written in the familiar handwriting of her mother. "Dear Sofia," he began, "if you are reading this, it means I am no longer with you. I want you to know how much I loved you and how sorry I am for the things I never had the courage to tell you." Tears rolled down Sofia's face as she continued reading. Her mother spoke of a life before marriage, of choices made and paths not taken. She wrote of a love she had lost long ago, a man named Roberto, and of a son she had given up for adoption. Each word felt like a dagger to Sofia's heart, shattering the ideal image she had of her family and revealing layers of pain and complexity that had remained hidden. Sofia struggled to comprehend what she was reading. How could her mother have kept such a monumental secret? Anger boiled inside her, a mixture of betrayal and hurt. She felt as if her entire understanding of family had been turned upside down. As the days passed, the emotional burden of her mother's revelations continued to weigh on Sofia. She felt a mixture of anger, sadness, and confusion. Why had her mother never told her? Why had she carried this burden alone? These questions tormented her as she sat at the table with her father, who was still struggling with the loss. Marco wore a blank expression, his eyes distant as he moved the food around on his plate. "Dad," Sofia said, her voice shaking, "there's something I need to talk to you about." Marco looked up, tiredness etched on his face. "What is it, honey?" "It's about Mom. She had a secret." As she recounted the contents of the box, she watched her father's expression change from confusion to disbelief, and finally to deep sadness. "I knew something was up," Marco admitted, tears forming in his eyes. "Claudia had a past she never wanted to revisit. I thought I could protect her, but it seemed like she always carried it with her." Sofia felt a twinge of sympathy for her father, who had lost not only a wife, but also the dreams of a life they had built together. "What should we do now? What about Roberto and Ivan?" she asked, mentioning the two men her mother had written about, who were still unaware of his death. Marco sighed deeply, pinching the bridge of his nose. "I don't know if we should tell them right away. They were close to her, but they don't know everything. It might be too much for them to handle right now." Sofia understood her father's hesitation, but she couldn't shake the feeling that the truth had to come out. "But Dad, they deserve to know who he really was. We can't keep this secret much longer." That evening, as the sun set, casting a warm golden light on the house, Marco and Sofia headed toward Roberto's house. The air was thick with tension, both knowing that they were about to reveal a truth that could alter the course of their lives. When they arrived, Roberto greeted them with a warm smile, his eyes shining with hope. "I was just thinking about Claudia. I can't believe she's gone," he said, his voice cracking with emotion. Sofia's heart broke at the sight of the man who had been a father figure in her life. She knew that this conversation would break Roberto's heart. Marco took a deep breath, gathering his thoughts before speaking. "Roberto, there's something we need to talk to you about," he began. "It's about Claudia. There were things she never told us." As Marco recounted the secrets they had discovered, Roberto's expression changed from confusion to horror. "She had a son. Why didn't she ever say anything?" His voice was tense, filled with disbelief and pain. Sofia felt a wave of empathy wash over her. She was scared, Roberto. She didn't want to hurt anyone, and she thought she could protect us by keeping it all hidden. Roberto's eyes were shining with tears. Claudia was a brave woman, but this is too much to bear. He leaned back in his chair, overwhelmed by the weight of the revelations. As the night wore on, they discussed Claudia's past, her choices, and the implications of those secrets. Marco and Roberto shared memories, laughing and crying as they honored Claudia's life. Yet through the laughter, Sofia couldn't shake the feeling of loss. The loss of the mother she thought she knew and the family that would never be whole. Days turned into weeks, and the shadows of grief continued to loom over Sofia and her father. Yet, in the midst of the pain, they discovered something profound. They began to bond over Claudia's shared experiences and memories, forming a new family dynamic. Roberto, once a stranger, became an integral part of their healing process. One afternoon, as Sofia was rummaging through the remains of her mother's things, she found the pendant from the box. She opened it to reveal a small photograph of a child, a boy with dark hair and wide, curious eyes. Her heart sank as she realized that this was her mother's son, the brother she never knew she had. "Dad, look," she called, showing Marco the pendant. His face paled as he took in the sight. "We have to find him," she said, determination burning in her eyes. "He deserves to know about his mother, and we need to honor Claudia's memory by reuniting her family." The search for her brother became a new focus for Sofia. She and Marco spent hours searching online, scouring social media, and contacting adoption agencies. Each lead brought a glimmer of hope, but also a sense of urgency. They felt a responsibility to connect with this lost part of their family. After weeks of searching, they finally found a contact who could help them. A name emerged: Ivan, a man in his 30s who had been adopted as a child. He lived in a nearby town, and they wasted no time in contacting him. "Hi, are you Ivan?" Marco asked nervously into the phone. "Yes, I'm Ivan," the voice on the other end replied, cautious but curious. "I'm sorry to contact you this way, but I have something important to tell you about your biological mother, Claudia. She recently passed away, and there's a lot to discuss." Ivan listened intently as Marco explained the situation. "I knew I was adopted, but I didn't know anything about her. What happened?" As Marco shared the story, he could hear the emotion in Ivan's voice. "I've always wanted to meet her. I can't believe she's gone, and I didn't know I had a sister." When they finally arranged to meet, Sofia felt a mixture of excitement and anxiety. What would Ivan be like? Would he understand the weight of their shared loss? The day came, and they met in a small cafe, the atmosphere filled with anticipation. When Ivan entered, Sofia felt an immediate connection. He had her mother's eyes, filled with a mixture of sadness and curiosity. "Hi, I'm Sofia," she said, holding out her hand. "Ivan," he replied, a cautious smile spreading across his face. As they sat together, the conversation flowed easily, as if they had known each other for years. They shared stories of their childhoods, their favorite memories of Claudia, and the gaps that had shaped their lives. For the first time since her mother's death, Sofia felt a glimmer of hope, a sense of family that had been missing. "I wish I had known her," Ivan said softly, his voice tinged with regret. "I always wanted to meet her, to understand where I came from." Sofia nodded, feeling the weight of his words. "Me too, but I think he wanted us to meet, to heal from the pain of the past." As the conversation progressed, they began to share their dreams and aspirations. Ivan spoke of his love for music, the songs he had written, many of which were inspired by his search for his roots. Sofia shared her passion for art and how she used it as a form of expression to deal with her grief. That day marked the beginning of a new chapter for both of them. They promised to stay in touch, to build a relationship that honored their mother's memory and embraced the bond of siblings. As the weeks passed, the new family began to blossom. Marco and Roberto often joined Sofia and Ivan for family dinners, sharing laughter and stories as they navigated their shared grief. Each encounter brought them closer together, healing the wounds left by Claudia's secrets. One night, as they sat around the dining table, Ivan pulled out his guitar. "I wrote a song about Claudia," he said, a nervous smile on his face. "I'd like to share it with you." Sofia felt a surge of emotion as Ivan began to play, his voice resonating with heartfelt lyrics about love, loss, and finding family. As he sang, she could see the pain in his eyes transform into something beautiful. It was a tribute to their mother, a bridge that connected their hearts. Tears streamed down Sofia's face as she listened. In that moment, she realized that music had the power to heal, to transcend the pain that had defined their lives for so long. Roberto and Marco joined together, their voices blending in a chorus of memories, honoring the woman who had brought them together. Through this journey, Sofia learned valuable lessons about love, resilience, and the importance of family. She realized that while secrets could cause pain, they could also lead to healing and connection. By embracing her mother's past, she not only discovered her own identity, but also forged a bond with her brother, a connection that would last a lifetime. One quiet evening, as Sofia sat in her room reflecting on the journey they had taken, she opened the pendant again. Her brother's photo looked back at her, a reminder of the love that had transcended time and distance. In that moment, she felt a sense of peace wash over her. "Thank you, Mom," he whispered, knowing that despite the pain, Claudia's legacy lived on in all of them. They had managed to turn pain into strength, turning secrets into a tapestry of love that bound their family together. As Sofia prepared for bed that night, she felt a warmth in her heart. She understood that life was an intricate dance of joy and pain, and within that dance lay the power to manifest healing and connection, no matter the circumstances. And so, with a heart full of hope and love, Sofia closed her eyes, ready to embrace the new dawn that awaited her, knowing that she was never alone. As Sofia's journey approaches a new phase, let's remember that every secret, every revelation can lead us to unexpected connections and a greater understanding of ourselves and others. The strength that comes from sharing pain and celebrating love shows us that we are never alone, even in the darkest of times. If this story resonates with you, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Share your experiences in the comments and join our community as we explore love, loss, and resilience together. Turn on notifications so you don't miss our next videos. Together, we can confront the secrets of the past and build a bright future. Thank you for joining us on this journey.